Now been these many cases of violence and vandalism at Tesla dealerships. How does that affect your employees, your customers? What does it mean to you? Like, how have you taken that in?
Well, I think a great wrong is being done to the people of Tesla and to our customers. I mean, Tesla is a peaceful company that has made great cars, great products. That's all it's done. Hasn't harmed anyone. And yet people are committing violence. They're firebombing Tesla dealerships. They're shooting guns into stores. They're threatening people. They're issuing death threats against me and other Tesla personnel. What are they doing this for? Why? And what's happening, it seems to me, is they're being fed propaganda by the far left. And they believe it. It's really unfortunate. But the real problem is not the people. It's not like the crazy guy that firebombs a Tesla dealership. It's the people pushing the propaganda that caused that guy to do it. Those are the real villains here, and we're going to go after them. And the president's made it clear we're going to go after them. The ones providing the money, the ones pushing the lies and propaganda. We're going after them.
And it's been this evolution. I mean, the last administration was going to mandate electric vehicles, and now you see on the far left some efforts to go after electric vehicles. It's quite something.
It is ironic. I mean, it seems like the most ironic outcome is the most likely. But, yeah, I mean...
Personally, it's got to take a toll.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. I think there's some real evil out there, and we have to overcome it.
I mean, you have been called a Nazi, a white supremacist, a fascist.
I mean, they've got the sort of their
just to name
playbook.
A few. Yeah.
I mean, they've still got it. They haven't. I guess they still need to call me Stalin, Mussolini, whatever, Genghis Khan, or whatever. I mean, they've called the president all these things. I think at one point there was a magazine cover which said President Trump was worse than Hitler, Mussolini, and Stalin combined. And the president hasn't killed anyone. He hasn't started any wars. In fact, he's good at stopping wars. So this is obviously, they're pushing these lies. And why do they push these lies? And I think that we need to hold people responsible for pushing these lies, because those lies almost got the president killed.
What's something that people wouldn't know about the president? You're pretty close to him now. You spend a lot of time with him. What's something that people wouldn't know?
I think the president is a good man. I think he is an honest man. And I've yet to see him do anything mean or anything that is wrong, that I would say morally wrong. Not even once.
So for you, what's the most astonishing thing you've found out in this process?
The sheer amount of waste and fraud in the government. It is astonishing. It's mind-blowing. We routinely encounter wastes of $1 billion or more, casually. For example, like the simple survey that was literally 10-question survey that you could do with SurveyMonkey, cost you about $10,000. Was the government was being charged almost $1 billion for that.
For just the survey?
$1 billion for a simple online survey. Do you like the national park? And then there appeared to be no feedback loop for what would be done with that survey. So the survey would just go into nothing. It was like insane.
There's a lot of mystery about Social Security and a lot of words about it here's what Democrats have been saying about it.
It's absurd that Elon Musk is trying to eliminate billions of dollars from Social Security.
Elon Musk and President Trump have set their sights on cutting Social Security.
Their goal is clear: destroy Social Security from within.
You're in the building. I mean, you're in the computers. What's happening there? What are you doing?
Yeah, it doesn't line up with my experience on the ground. And I'll say the two improvements that we're trying to make to Social Security are helping people that legitimately get benefits, protect them from fraud that they experience every day on a routine basis, and also make the experience better. And I'll give you one example is at Social Security, one of the first things we learned is that they get phone calls every day of people trying to change direct deposit information. So when you want to change your bank account, you can call Social Security. We learned 40% of the phone calls that they get are from fraudsters.
40%?
That's right. Almost half.
Yes, and they steal people's Social Security is what happens. Is they call in, they say, they claim to be a retiree, then they convince the Social Security person on the phone to change where the money's flowing. It actually goes to some fraudster. This is happening all day, every day. And then somebody doesn't receive their Social Security. It's because of all the fraud loopholes in the Social Security system.
How do you reassure people that what you all are doing is not going to affect their benefits?
No, in fact, what we're doing will help their benefits. Legitimate people, as a result of the work of DOGE, will receive more Social Security, not less. I want to emphasize that. As a result of the work of DOGE, legitimate recipients of Social Security will receive more money, not less money.
All right.
I want to emphasize that point and let the record show that I said this, and it will be proven out to be true. Let's check back on this in the future.
So, Washington Post, the Social Security Administration website crashed 4 times in 10 days this month because the servers were overloaded, blocking millions of retirees and disabled veterans from logging into their online accounts. Freaked people out. Is that going to change?
Yes, we're going to make sure that the website stays online.
Yeah. I mean, but is it a result of going in there
No.
or something you're doing?
No. The amount of issues that were with the Social Security system are enormous. As an example, there are over 15 million people that are over the age of 120 that are marked as alive in the Social Security system.
And that's an accurate figure.
Yes.
Correct.
15 million.
Correct. This has been something that's been identified as a problem. Again, pre-existing problems since 2008, at least, from an IG report. So there were some great people working at the Social Security Administration that found this, 2008, and nothing was done. And so 15 to 20 million Social Security numbers that were clearly fraudulent were floating around that can be used only for bad intentions. There'd be no way to use those for good intentions. And so one of the things the DOGE team is doing is carefully and very methodically looking at those and making sure that any fraudulent ones are eliminated.
Another example at NIH is today they have 27 different centers. They got created over time by Congress, and they're typically by disease state or body system. There's 700 different IT systems today at NIH.
700 different IT systems.
IT software systems.
And they don't communicate.
They can't speak to each other.
So they don't talk to one another.
They have 27 different CIOs. And so when you think about making great medical discoveries, you have to connect the data.
Time out. You said 27 different chief information officers?
Correct.
And most of them are non-technical.
So there's a lot there.
There's a lot of opportunity. It will make science better, not worse.
And when I say that our job is tech support, I really mean it.
Yeah.
We have to fix the computers. If the computers can't talk to each other, you can't get research done. If the computers can't stay online, people won't receive their Social Security. So what we have here are a bunch of failing computer systems that are preventing people from receiving their benefits, that are preventing people from preventing research from happening, that are extremely vulnerable to fraud, and we're fixing it.
And does that include AI? Does that include kind of changing the system overall? That's, I guess, what people are afraid of, is they don't know what this is all looking like, and is it going to affect me in the long term?
It's going to affect them. It's going to affect people very positively. So the changes that we're doing here will ensure the solvency of the American government, of the United States of America. This is what we're trying to do: is ensure that people do receive their benefits in the future. And you can only receive your benefits if the country is operating in a healthy and competent way. Over $300 million of Small Business Administration loans that has been given out to people under the age of 11.
Well, actually, to add to it, it's 300 million under the age of 11 and over 300 million to over the age of 120.
Definitely.
Small business loans.
Correct.
Yes. The oldest American is 114. So it's safe to say if their age is 115 or above, they're fake. Or they should be in the Guinness Book of World Records. And we should not be giving out loans to babies. So the youngest recipient of a Small Business Administration loan is a 9-month-old, which is a very, very precocious baby we're talking about here. So obviously it was just fraudulent. And they do terrible things. They actually will see that a kid's been born. They will steal that kid's social security number and then take out a loan and leave that kid with a bad credit rating. There was literally a baby. The terrible things are being done, is what we're saying.
And how?
And we're stopping these terrible things.
And you can stop it? I mean,
Well,
we are stopping
you are
it.
stopping. The reason this is
Absolutely.
happening is because the two systems are not talking to each other.
Yes.
Right. And so you don't know at the Small Business Administration that you're giving a loan to a 9-month-old, which happened in one case, because you're not cross-referencing that with the Social Security Administration data that has birth dates. So that very, very simple fix eliminates tremendous fraud. And that there are multiple systems across the government where the systems are not speaking with one another. And if you just solve that simple problem, you would solve a huge amount of fraud.
Are you surprised?
So one of the ways that, like one of the key tricks that the fraudsters pull is that they will use the fact that someone is marked as live, and as sort of just that social security number is marked as live in Social Security, and then get disability and unemployment insurance for a dead person. Because the databases don't talk to each other, all they got was from Social Security is like, is this person alive? Yes, they're not alive. It's falsely marked. Person is falsely marked as alive in Social Security, but they didn't. But that person, a fraudster can now get unemployment and disability from a dead person. This is happening all the time at scale.
We should talk about DOGE and tariffs.
Okay, so DOGE comes. It's October before the election. I called the president and I said, I need to spend an hour with you because I have my big ideas. So I had an hour and a half, just he and me talking. And I said, I want to balance the budget of the United States of America. And this is the way we're going to do it. No one's ever checked the just under $4 trillion of entitlements. Every politician thinks what you have to do is you have to take the retirement age from 65 and make it a 70.
Right.
And you have to do this and this and this and this because they never think about the money. But people like us would say, what's the first thing you do? Well, what's the value I'm getting for my money? And what you find is if nobody ever, like as in ever, has looked at where the money goes. And so there's not even a process to get it back when you send it to the wrong person. You just send another one out.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. Well, I sent it accidentally, or accidentally. Notice how it's accidental.
Right.
It's always accidentally sent to the wrong person. Really, you wouldn't ever say the 5.9 million people who work for the government, there could be some crooks in there.
Right.
No. It's all accidental. What a load of nonsense this is.
There's some percentage of this.
What you would say.
No, just zero base it and let's figure out where
It's got to be 25%.
Yeah.
We'd all say if it's never been checked, how could it not be
Completely.
25%?
Right.
How could it not be?
Right.
And the answer is that's $1 trillion a year.
Right.
Okay, so I said, I think we're going to cut $1 trillion a year in expense. And then I think we can, through tariffs and other means, we're going to get revenues of $1 trillion. Okay?
Incremental revenue.
Incremental revenue.
Yeah.
And we're going to balance the budget. And I said, I have one favor to ask of you. If we can balance the budget for you, will you agree to waive all income tax for every person who makes less than $150,000 a year for the United States of America? Which, by the way, is about 85% of America.
Right.
And the reason you want to work for Donald Trump is he looks at me and goes, sure. Like, you realize the President of the United States said, if you balance the budget, and he's not lying, he's not kidding. And then I tell him, okay, I'm going to go recruit Elon. Because Elon's all in. He's already said he's all in. He's already said he's going to Pennsylvania. So I call Elon, and I don't know Elon, but he's perfect for this. So I use my superpower, which is I call everybody else I know who knows him, and they arrange. And I'm texting with him, and he agrees to meet me on October 14th. So I fly down to Brownsville, Texas. He's going to catch the rocket on October 14th. So he invites me down for the rocket catch.
That's right.
He just invited me down that's a good day for me to meet him. And so I flew down to see Elon and with my son. And so we watched the rocket, right? And then they say, okay, he's going to go hang out with his engineers and party with them. Seems reasonable. It's like an hour and a half. And then he just goes dark.
You're still waiting.
I'm just sitting there waiting. Yeah. And then they take me and I go to like the equivalent of a Margaritaville. You know, where you have like a basket and you can get quesadillas and you get a Diet Coke in a red sort of plastic thing that's about this tall. It's like I got 4,000 ounces of Diet Coke in it that comes in this big.
Love that.
But now, to his credit, he sends me all the executives from SpaceX are hanging with me. Yeah. But he's dark. And what happened is he took a nap. He was up all night doing the engineering and he went to sleep. So then when he finally wakes up, So I'm just sitting there like, doing the, I don't know him really. So I'm just doing the thumb twiddle. I'm going, okay, this guy's.
You had a couple quesadillas.
I'm hoping he sees me, right?
Yeah.
So then he wakes up, he says, come to my house, right? I'll see you in my house. So his house is 1,200 square feet. It's got the furniture in it that I had when I graduated from college.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. So I say, we're gonna balance the budget. I need to cut $1 trillion. He's like, I'm in. He says, I think we should cut 80% of the federal government because the essential employees, if the government shut down, essential employees are 450,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's 5.9 million people who work for the government.
Yeah.
How can 450,000 be essential and there's 5.9 million? So he says, like Twitter, I think we should cut 80%.
Yeah.
And I say, I know how to cut 50. And he says, I want to cut 80. I said, I know how to do 50. He goes, are you with me or against me? I go, I know how to legally do it. And my son says it was like two alpha dogs just like fighting with each other for the first half hour. And then X comes in, right? And then he's got to walk his son X out. So he walks his son X out, and I'm thinking maybe the meeting's over, right? Because we've been together a half hour, 40 minutes, and maybe it's over. Because he got up and he walked out, he comes back, and he sits down, he goes, Howard, this meeting is, right? That's what he says. He goes, this meeting is, and we sit down and we map out the plan. I tell him what a gratis vendor is.
Yeah.
A gratis vendor is an approved vendor for the United States of America that gives product to the government, doesn't sell it. And then if you give it to Article 2, which is the president's stuff, then the president can accept it, right? Because it's give.
Sorry, Howard, what's an example of this? Like just to make
I write some software.
You write some software.
I write some software for the Commerce Department to do a better job of XYZ. You just give it to me. And then I do QA on it, and I can take it. If you sell it to me for $1, we go into government hell.
Right, the whole rigmarole.
Right, but if you give it to me, right, and then I set up, so I said, I'm calling it DOGE. And I registered the name DOGE.
And were you familiar with Dogecoin and Elon's history?
Of course, it's Elon. I'm going to Elon.
Okay,
so what happens is, in the Defense Production Act in World War II, in order to get all the great executives of America to help with production, they named everything after jazz singers or everything that of the people who were on the committee, that it would make them laugh and smile.
Okay.
Right? So I picked a DOGE, so he would laugh and smile. And he said, get the F out of here. Like when I said, we're going to name it DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, which I didn't think of. It was on the internet sort of floating around in June, but I literally registered it, right? As the Department of Government Efficiency, like make it a real thing as a gratis vendor. And I said, this is how I've done it for me.
Yes.
So that I can run Cantor Fitzgerald, you can run SpaceX, right? You don't have to sign the conflict form and all this stuff, because you're not working for the government, you're just giving stuff to the government.
Yes.
You are literally giving of yourself.
Right.
But you're not looking for anything, you're not taking any money, you're not owning anything, you're not on that side of the wall, you're on this side.
Yeah.
Right? And so we had fun, we talked for 2 hours. And then on my Twitter feed, I took a picture of me and Elon outside, and I put up, welcome to DOGE. We are going to rip the waste out of our $6.5 trillion government and balance the budget. We must elect Donald J. Trump president.
Yeah.
Right? And I posted that with I probably at the time had 25,000 viewers, and I got 45 million views.
Wow.
So it was me and Elon.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of DOGE.
We have to issue the notice of funding opportunity within 180 days. That's step 1. Step 2, which all 56 state applicants completed, is states who want to participate must submit a letter of intent. After they do that, they can submit a request for up to $5 million in planning grants. Then the NTIA, step 4, has to review and approve and award, again, planning grants, not broadband grants, planning grants.
And it's still at the NTIA. It's still at the first step.
All right, so the NTIA must issue a NOFA within 180 days. States who want to participate must submit their letter of intent. Step 3, they can request up to $5 million in planning grants.
Just planning.
Just planning. Step 4, the requests are reviewed, approved, and awarded by the NTIA, which currently all 56, 3 years later, all 56 applicants had passed through at least step 5. It took more than 3 years. So it's a long time. States must submit a 5-year action plan. So the states kind of go back and they kind of think about how they're going to do this. And they don't just say, okay, thank you for the money. We're going to spend it. And you can see how it worked out later. We're like, here's our 5-year action plan. Then the FCC must publish the broadband data maps before NTIA allocates funds. So having done the NOFO, the letters of intent, the request for planning grants, then the review, approval, and awarding of the planning grants, then the 5-year action plans. In between that, the federal government has to put forward a map saying where it thinks we need rural broadband subsidies. And then, of course, the states need an opportunity to challenge the map for accuracy. And you can imagine this doesn't all happen in like a day. Okay, so then the NTIA, step 7, has to use the FCC maps to make allocation decisions. Then, having already done their letter of intent, their request for planning grants, it's hard even to talk about this, man. Step 7 is NTIA must use the FCC maps that were already challenged for allocation decisions. Then, having submitted all this, I think this one is actually quite amazing.
Yeah.
Having submitted their 5-year plans or letters of intent, step 8 is states must submit an initial proposal to the NTIA. Then,
is that the result of their $5 million planning fund? This initial
I assume,
proposal?
but then what was the 5-year plan?
And what the fuck did they apply for? What was their NOFO?
Like, if the 5-year action plan isn't the initial proposal, then what's the 5-year action
Forget
plan?
NOFO,
Okay.
MOFO.
Step 9, NTIA must review and approve each state's, again, initial proposal. By my read, we have had at least 2 initial proposals here, but that's a different issue.
Oh my God.
Step 10, states must publish their own map and allow internal challenges to their own map. So the government has published a map. They have invited the states to challenge the map. Then states have submitted initial proposals, and they then have to publish their own map and allow challenges.
Wait, who's challenging it within the state?
Well, organized interest groups, environmental groups, like I don't know who specifically, but literally anybody. This is, right. I want to say something because it's very important I say this. This is the Biden administration's process for its own bill. They wanted this to happen. This is how liberal government works now.
This is something they instituted for this bill.
For their bill. This is a bill passed by Democrats with a regulatory structure written by Democratic administration. Okay.
Right.
Step 11. The NTIA must review and improve the challenge results and the final map. So the NTIA has put forward a map. The states have challenged that map. Then the states have put forward their maps, had other challenges. And now the NTIA must review and approve the challenges to the state maps. Okay. So we've done step 11, NTIA must review and approve challenge results and final map. We've lost 9 of the applicants at that point. Step 12, states must run a competitive sub-granting process.
Oh my fucking God. At step 12, after all this has been done.
Yeah, none of that could have happened along the way here. We have now lost 17 more applicants. So now 30 of 56 have completed step 12. Step 13, states must submit a final proposal. All the proposals weren't enough to NTIA. Now that goes to 3 of 56. So we've gone in the last couple steps from 56 had gone to this point to 3 of 56. Step 14, the NTIA must review and approve the state's final proposal. And that is 3 of the 56 jurisdictions and states are there. In summary, states are nearly at the finish line. And it says to stop their progress now, or worse, to make them go backwards, would be a stick in the spokes of the most promising broadband deployment plans we have ever seen. End scene.
I'm speechless, Ezra. Honestly, it's far worse than I could have imagined. But the fact that they amputated their own legs on this is what's so stunning. We're talking a little bit about the priorities of a more progressive agenda, the things that they want to build. Is there even a more basic step that needs to be addressed first? Because one of the issues that I think afflicts maybe more progressive policies, which is we need $500 billion to build this, We need to tax billionaires to get the money to do this. But the public does not trust that that money will be attached to a value that directly impacts their lives because they haven't seen it for a couple of decades or so. And on the flip side, the Republicans come in with a scythe and they're chopping it in the name of efficiency, but again, with no eye to value. Do Democrats have to almost take even a step further back and simplify the case for value and making that case to people and competence?
Let me say this one as clearly as I possibly can. Democrats have to be the party that owns government reform.
Right.
One thing is if they don't, then what you're going to get is something like DOGE, which is the destruction of the government under the guise of reform. But two, the politics of reform, it is one of the most powerful streams of politics that exists in American life. I think if you just go back over recent elections, you can basically predict the winner just on who owns the politics of reform. So Obama runs as a good government reformer. I mean, people forget this now about him, but his big pitch was not post-racialism. It was
yes, we can.
The special interests and the lobbyists they're dicing us up into red and blue, and they're fooling us, and they're fucking up our politics, and we're going to get them out of here, and we're going to have a government for you. Obama was very much a reformer. Trump, in his own way, in 2016, he runs as a reformer.
Sure.
Drain the swamp is a reform line, and Hillary Clinton is very much she's been in Washington forever. She took all this money from Goldman Sachs, right? She embodies the opposite of reform, the status quo. People always say status quo and change, and I think this is a place where Democrats often don't want to see part of what that implies, because they're we're not the status quo. We have all these big projects, just as you're saying, John, to give people money. But status quo is also about this question of, will you change the way the thing works?
Yes.